Take a moment and look at a US dollar bill. Feel its texture. It seems so simple, doesn't it? Just a piece of paper with some ink. But what you're holding is more than that. It's a time capsule, a tapestry woven with centuries of power, trust, and the dreams of a nation. This isn't just currency, it's a story. And this story doesn't start in a high-tech trading room or a bustling bank. It starts much earlier, in the messy, uncertain days after America first declared its independence. Back then, there was no single dollar. Each of the 13 states printed its own money. Imagine the chaos. Alongside all this paper, gold and silver coins circulated, heavy and real. People trusted metal. You could feel its weight in your hand, hear the jingle in your pocket. Metal was tangible. Paper felt flimsy, temporary. Trust was a rare commodity, as fragile as the new nation itself. But a young country has growing pains. It has wars to fight, debts to pay, and vast territories to explore. These ambitions demanded more than what gold and silver could provide. So America began a bold, almost reckless experiment. It started printing its first national bills, backed by nothing more than a promise from the government. A promise that this paper was worth something. It was a radical idea, and many people were skeptical. In a world that believed in gold, this fiat money felt like a gamble. As the years went by, the designs on these bills evolved. They became more intricate, more symbolic. The faces of presidents appeared, as did the powerful image of the eagle. This wasn't just about making the money look nice. It was a form of national branding. Each detail was a message designed to tell a story of a strong, unified government. It was an attempt to convince not only its own citizens, but the entire world that this paper money, this American promise, was solid and trustworthy. Then came the Civil War, a trial by fire for the United States. The nation was torn apart, and the financial strain was immense. To fund the war effort, the government printed massive amounts of paper money, known as greenbacks. It was a huge risk. If the Union lost, this money would become worthless overnight. The dollar faced a life-or-death test, yet something unexpected happened. Amidst the chaos and conflict, the idea of a single national currency became more deeply ingrained than ever. Soldiers from New York to Ohio had to use the same money. They were forced to share a common currency, to believe in the same financial system. Out of the flames of war, a unified monetary identity was forged. After the war, America charged into the industrial age. Factories roared to life, smokestacks pierced the sky, and railroads stretched across the continent like iron veins. In this new era of explosive growth, the dollar took on a new role. It was no longer just a way to buy and sell goods. It became the fuel for ambition. The very engine of the American dream. It represented the belief that with hard work and a bit of luck, anyone could build a fortune. The dollar was now a symbol of opportunity. Of course, this journey wasn't a straight line up. economic crises came like clockwork. The Panic of 1907 saw banks collapse and fortunes evaporate. The Great Depression was even more devastating. Each time, the dollar's credibility was pushed to the brink. But with each crisis, the government's role in the economy grew. It learned to intervene, to build regulatory walls, to protect the financial system. The Federal Reserve was created. With each intervention, the dollar became more intertwined with the power and authority of the state, making it stronger and more resilient than ever before. Then came the turning point that would change the world. World War II, while Europe and Asia were left in ruins. America emerged as a victorious nation with its industrial base intact. Its economy was a powerhouse. In 1944, at the Bretton Woods Conference, the world's leaders made a historic decision. They pegged their own currencies to the US dollar, which was, in turn, convertible to gold. Suddenly, the dollar was more than just America's money. It became the world's currency, the standard for international trade, the primary reserve held by central banks, and the benchmark for value across the globe. American influence, carried by the dollar, spread to every corner of the planet. For decades, this system held, but by the 1970s, the world had changed. The US no longer had enough gold to back all the dollars circulating globally. So, in a move that shocked the financial world, President Nixon severed the dollar's last link to gold. From that moment on, the US dollar became a true fiat currency, its value based purely on faith. Faith in the strength of the US economy, the might of its military, and the stability of its political system. It was a monumental leap of faith, one that many feared would lead to disaster. Instead, it ushered in the modern financial era we live in today. Since then, the dollar has continued to evolve. It has transformed from printed notes to digital numbers flashing across screens in a global network. You can move millions with the tap of a button, yet its fundamental nature remains the same. The dollar's value comes from a powerful, collective belief. It works because billions of people, from a street vendor in Mumbai to a banker in London, all agree that it has value. So, the next time you hold a dollar, or even just tap your phone to pay for coffee, take a second to think about what it represents. You're not just holding paper or seeing pixels, you are touching the sediment of history. You're connecting to a story of wars and crises, of bold gambles and brilliant innovations. A story of how a simple piece of paper was transformed into a global symbol of power, and the enduring, sometimes elusive, promise of the American dream. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.